Good morning. Okay. Do I have to stand up? I guess I should, no. All right. Good morning, everyone. I'm Nina, and okay, sorry. It went weird over there. So you're supposed to see the F and the T somewhere else. So okay, I'll be talking about social media and the creation of the super citizen. Now let us define some phrases. But before we move on to that, I'd like to open with a couple of paragraphs that I got from Voltaire Tupas's piece on the line between journalism and advocacy. So let me read. The digital age is ushering in a contemporary brand of journalism, more collaborative and more participative. Storytelling is becoming a convergence point of journalists and citizens as both increasingly use viral tools of communication. We all know that. I love this closing that he wrote. I enter our newsroom, step out to cover stories or log into our online platforms, and I feel the urgency and importance of effecting social change. It doesn't feel like work. It is the continuation of my advocacy and conviction. And I open with this because as we speak now, lines between journalism, advocacy, change making are slowly blurring. You see journalists covering stories, but you also see them really pushing for stories that people ought to care about. There used to be a time when there were certain gatekeepers in media, and who could define what was heard by whom, what was seen by whom. But now with social media, we're seeing people becoming more and more involved in really shaping the way news is covered, made, and even what kinds of stories are told and how they're acted on. So next slide, please. So what we're seeing is that as social media platforms and as netizens' relationship with them evolve, people are finding deeper ways to engage than just tell stories. So we're no longer just citizen journalists. We bloggers, we've moved on from telling stories. And now we're seeing the creation and the rise of super citizens. Next slide, please. So what is a super citizen? All of you are here today for one reason or another. And I think all of you are here because you probably fit this mold. And let me define it. Okay. I'm borrowing from Merriam-Webster, but I'm also adding my own definition. So a super citizen is a civilian as distinguished from a specialized servant of the state, according to Merriam-Webster. I am not plagiarizing. Who has, and this is what I'm adding, who has broken traditional gatekeeping and power barriers, demonstrating capabilities once limited to the state, media, and other powers that be. We're seeing with the rise of social media that certain individuals have broken through the clutter. Diba? You have Tonyo Cruz here, you have Jane Oy Matiao here, you have Ross One here, you have Vince Lasatin here, you have people who are, individuals acting in their own capacity but breaking through traditional barriers. Media is no longer just the sole gatekeeper, neither is government, neither is, big business. So people are coming up, stepping up because social media is allowing them to do so. Next slide, please. So, what can a super citizen do? There are many things, but I'm just going to identify 5 based on recent experience and things that are close to my heart. Number 1, we know this. As citizen journalists, we can help break stories. And I'm happy to say that a lot of us here, who are really engaged in social media and who are I guess, more involved than just cutting and pasting stories. We can actually help break stories. Here's an example. Upper left, a friend of mine who's currently in New York posted this Facebook message. Dear Filipino media, please pick up on this skirmish in Marawi. This happened, I think, August 7, August 8. So this was the height of the Habagat flooding. But a friend from New York said, there's something happening in Marawi. Mindanao State University in Marawi was closed because there's a skirmish going on. Media has to know about this. So I saw it on my Facebook page. Sent a message to my friends in Mindanao. Can somebody please confirm if this is happening? Later on, a Twitter conversation ensued. Ms. Maria is also quoted here, so she responded. Actually, Ms. Cesdrilon also covered the story. So thanks to social media, you're able to get information on the ground. You're able to, also alert your media friends and say, this is happening. Oh, everyone's so focused on the habagat in Manila, but there's something going on in Marawi. The students are scared. The school is locked down. What can we do about it? Next slide, please. This was the story that came out. Attack at MSU Marawi, 3 soldiers killed, 10 hurt. So if people aren't vigilant enough, stories like this won't even get out. Okay, next slide, please. You can discuss issues with the purpose of taking action. Next slide. We've put up a closed group on Facebook. I'm just giving a preview here. It's called the PH Netizens Bill of Rights Working Group because it's a group advocating for the passage of a Magna Carta for internet freedom, as well as, hopefully openly speaking out about the Cybercrime Act. Gone are the days when social media is just used to rant. Now we can actually get people together, and you'll see here we've made drafts of the Magna Carta, we've made position papers about the cybercrime law, and it's about also processing the information and seeing how we can push it further. How can we talk to legislators? How can we talk to decision makers? What can we do to openly advocate for our rights? Next slide, please. You can report an unusual occurrence or emergency. And this happens all the time, thanks to MMDA, thanks to text fire. Next slide, please. For some strange reason, I always run into fires. Okay, this happened at 4:20 a.m. I don't know. Why? Diba? I'm sorry. Super citizen, yeah. So I always run into fires. This happened at 4:20 a.m. I honestly don't know why I was awake. No, I was awakened by the sound of smoke. I thought it was coming from our building. We live in a 22-story building. So I thought there was something happening in the unit. Apparently, it was happening a few blocks away, but the wind was blowing the smoke in our direction, and the fire was really growing big. So I was text fire. I even tagged Sir Howie because I knew he lived near the area. And diba, social media allows you to do that. You know where people are around. So you can report that. This one I also ran into on my way to a meeting. Diba? Huge fire. So you can alert authorities. Oo nga eh. You can alert authorities thanks to your smartphone and social media. Next slide, please. You can respond to calls for help. And I'd really like to commend folks like Roswan. Next slide, please. Roswan, Tonyo Cruz, and the people who put up Rescue PH. It's amazing. And Ross was like a virtual call, di ba, call center, help desk, lahat na parang, Ross, paki-retweet to or paki-post to dun sa database. So this is what happened during the Habagat floods. We saw the beginnings of this in Andoy in 2009. But next slide, please. People now have gotten more organized. So there's a database, diba? Through Google Docs, you can actually respond to help. And nowadays, with so many things happening, this is really an important element. There will be calls for help from anywhere, and social media allows us to also respond from anywhere. Okay, I have 2 minutes. This is my favorite, and I will have to commend folks like Vince Lasatin, who's here, and Jane Umatiao, bring politicians to their feet. I'm sure all of you have heard of, the anti-EPAL movement. Next slide, please. So we are really shaming these politicians and showing, look, guys, number 1, our cities look uglier because of your faces. Number 2, we don't need to thank you for delivering public service that is supposed to be delivered with our money. We're paying the taxes, remember? And we're paying pretty big taxes. So the anti-EPAL movement has, as of last night, this now has 28,599 followers. We were covered by the Wall Street Journal just recently. You can ask Vince for more details. But it's a great movement because, next slide please, you're seeing now, ayan, di ba? Nahihiya na sila. Bistek to QC polls. Remove your EPAL signs too, no? It shouldn't be just me. And more politicians feel the anti-EPAL pinch. Representative Biazon of Muntinlupa started to take down LIM orders, the removal of banners. And up here on your upper left, there are now apps that are being built to be able to track and, map out these EPALs. So you can see the concentration, diba? Is it really QC with the highest concentration of EPALs? So on and so forth. So there are many, many more. Many causes have now emerged. Jeep Need is here. If you've heard of the Yellow Boat Foundation of Save the Philippine Seas, so many causes were born from social media. Next slide, please. Okay, my bottom line is this, and my theory basically. Social media, smartphones, and other emerging technologies have made it easier for people to be informed, to be connected, and to be better able to perform their civic duties. We're now rising up, standing up as citizens, not just telling stories. Okay, I'll be wrapping up. Not just telling stories, but really saying, what else can we do to make life better for the Philippines and to be able to do our duties better. And what's next? Okay, just the last line, please. Let's push for a Magna Carta for netizens and help foster an enabling environment to really enable web citizenry, super citizenry. Thank you very much. That's my Twitter handle.